right, that time it worked correctly. Welcome to the Kingdom Politics Podcast with Pastor Will and Dr. Michael Huffman. Sorry about the earlier mix up. I don't know. Technology is fun. All right, welcome to the show. We've finally rocking and rolling. A couple of house cleaning things for everybody. We're becoming a bit more official with what we're doing. So there is a new website. All this, if you listen to the podcast version, which is most of our viewers, there'll be links in the show notes. But we have a brand new website, thekingdompolitics.org, and you can find everything there. You can find all the videos. You can also listen to the audio there. Articles are posted there now. And we've got, when we have upcoming events, which we're planning, those will be posted there as well. So it's going to be one hub for everything that we're doing. And you can find all of it there. We also have two brand new socials on Facebook, Kingdom Politics, and on Instagram, the Kingdom Politics Podcast on Instagram. So those are the two that we have right now. And because we're busy people, and two is a lot, but they talk to each other, Facebook and Instagram, so it makes it a little bit easier. So that is the housekeeping part.
972. That's the number of new bills that Abigail Spanberger has signed into law in Virginia that go into effect on July 1st. You literally have to be aware of 1,000.
And we have quite a lot going on in Virginia again this week. We have, I think it was only 12 vetoes total, right?
It was between 12 and 13, depends on who you talk to. The list I have that was created for me, let me see, list. Actually,
there's quite a few.
I guess I have about 16, but I think it was 13 just yesterday. I think that's where we're getting that 12 to 13. Total of 16, but 13 was yesterday, and it was some pretty monumental vetoes that she did.
Yeah. What do you think the biggest one was?
Well, I think it really depends on your politics, I guess. But I think probably the biggest one was the cannabis retail that she vetoed.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, that was HB 642 by Paul Krizik, and they just knew that one was going through. I mean, I remember sitting in committee in the 2025 session, and he said at the beginning of the very first subcommittee, actually. He said that, well, we all know where this bill is going this year, but next year we'll get it implemented. Well, guess what, Paul? No, you didn't. And it's almost like, Will, they're fighting with each other, because it's almost like she says, I posted a video today and kind of alluded to this. It's almost like she's saying, okay, I gave you amendments. You rejected my amendments. So here's your veto, pal.
Yeah. Yeah, because when we were there, what was it, a couple months ago?
Yeah,
they rejected a huge portion of her amendments.
Yeah,
and just sent them back to her. And now she's come back with a bunch that she's just vetoed.
One that actually surprised me was she vetoed HB 61, the SWAM program that would basically have allowed taxpayers to pay upwards of 5% greater on government contracts in order for it to be awarded to a contractor that was either minority owned or women owned. And she vetoed that one yesterday. That surprised me.
Yeah, that surprises me, but the redistricting thing didn't go well.
No, it did not.
for
To say
them.
the least, right?
Um, it hasn't gone well the first, what are we in, month 5?
Mhm.
Yeah, halfway through month 5 of her governorship. It hasn't gone very well for them.
Yeah.
For her approval ratings are uh, next to nothing.
Yeah.
Um, I wonder if any of that has something to do with it. She's got to rehab the image a little bit,
Yeah.
because it is interesting that she vetoed that one. That was a big talking point for the Democrats. I thought the cannabis one was surprising that she vetoed that. Uh, I mean, I agree with it. I'm glad she vetoed it.
Yeah.
It never goes the way that people think it's going to go.
Right.
People think that the state is going to get all kinds of money for the taxes from the cannabis sales, but it's not negligible, but it's not as much as you think it's going to be.
Right.
Versus the amount of crime and the amount of other things that uptick with the legalization of cannabis.
Yeah.
Well, the selling of the legalization of the selling of it. Because you can still, I don't know. The rules
Yeah.
are super confusing, or
Yeah.
not rules, the laws
Yeah.
regarding that is super confusing.
Well, one of the things I said when I was in committee in 25 about this cannabis bill is that, Colorado is the poster child of retail cannabis success. And even Colorado is reporting that still 35 to 40% of their cannabis sales is through the black market. And that's supposedly, what these retail things are supposed to stop is the black market sales, but they never do, because what do states, and in our situation, a Commonwealth, what do they always seem to do? They tax it so much that you can go to the black market and buy it cheaper.
Yeah.
Now you're buying probably an inferior product, but as long as it gives you the buzz that you want, you don't care. You've got your desired effect, and you've got it cheaper. And so, they create they create these cannabis markets. If you read the bill is 80 to 90 pages long, if my memory serves me correct. It's absolutely it's crazy. But if you read the bill, they are targeting areas that have about 50% of their of illegal drug charges come from the areas that they're targeting, and they're targeting people to give licenses to that have previous drug charges. So they're putting them in illegal areas, areas where the law is broken drug charge wise, and they're giving up to 5 licenses to people that have drug charges on their record. And then they want to charge 11% sales tax that, by the way, used to go to education for children, but now 60% of it, they used to be 30, 60. 60% went back to education, 30% went back to the campus market. Now they've swapped it, and now 30% goes education and 60% goes to the cannabis market. And so you read the language of the left, and you find out right off, this is all about, like you and I already know, like most of our listeners already know, this is all about money. It's not about creating something safe for Virginians, because if they wanted to do that, they should go back prior to 2021 and make cannabis illegal to begin with. But it's not about making things safe for Virginians. It's about getting more money into the coffers of the Commonwealth of Virginia. And this cannabis retail is just another instance of that. And I'm glad she vetoed it, even if it was for the wrong reasons. I'm so glad she vetoed it.
Yeah, it's like what we were talking about on the phone offline the other day or yesterday. It's not getting to the heart of the matter. Uh, people are the argument for this kind of thing, and the argument for gambling. This is the argument they always use. While everyone's doing it anyway, we might as well legalize it. That's not a good argument.
No. What if everybody was shooting each other? Did you just go, make that legal?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess there's a point where they stop using that argument, but they I hear the same thing about game. Well, people are going to do it anyway. It's all online now. We might as well be part of it. Really? No, that's not a good reason to do it. Why are people gambling? Why are people using drugs?
Yeah.
What are the it doesn't help anyone. It doesn't get to the heart of the matter. It's not helping anyone except the people that are selling it who get the licenses, and at some point it probably helps the state, although I would argue it's not as much as they think it's going to be.
Right.
It never goes the way they think it's going to go, because we're supposed to be, as someone who has been sober for, I should have kept count. I really regret not counting. I don't know, 11, 12 years, something like that. It is much better being sober than it is not being sober. But it never, so what I'm trying to say, why I say that, because I'm coming at it from a Christian perspective, but I'm coming at it as those types of bills and those types of laws, they do it because they think they can control the supply and they can control the quality and they can control this and that, but it's not what happens. And this isn't marijuana from the 1960s either.
Right.
It is not the same drug.
What's going to happen in these retail stores, Will, when we start getting shipments in of cannabis that's laced with fentanyl?
Well, yeah, that's, where's the heart of the matter? Why are we talking about cannabis retail and having to spend our time on this and vetoing this? And again, I'm glad she vetoed it. Credit where credit's due. But what about the fentanyl crisis? You can literally get that stuff anywhere.
Right.
So in 2024, we had 1,548 overdose deaths in Virginia. 1,500 people died from drug use.
Yeah. And in Connecticut in 2021, there was a lab confirmed case of marijuana laced with fentanyl that led to a death. So it can happen. It has happened. Although at this time, admittedly, it's rare, but everything is rare when it first starts.
Yeah.
Until people finally, hey, look what I can do, and then it becomes more popular.
Well, everything gets more dangerous too when you legalize. We already have a drunk driving problem.
Right.
I think it's the same charge, is it not? If you're high when you're driving.
Yes.
Driving under
the influence. Yeah.
I
think the standards of it are a little bit different, but I think that the charges itself are, yes.
Yeah, I think it's the same. Here's what I don't understand. Like from the progressive side, their argument is that we need to move everything forward and we need to, advance or whatever. So we now live in an age where almost anywhere you can get a car sent to your location via an app called Uber or Lyft.
Mm-hmm.
Why are drunk driving penalties not higher?
Right.
Why? I don't understand.
Exactly.
So we're going to loosen things here and there because we're more progressive, but we live in an age where anyone can get a car, a driver, a ride, depending on where you live, within 10 to 15 minutes, if not shorter.
Yeah.
But those penalties are not increased.
No.
If Lyft or Uber listens, you should lobby your local governments to increase the penalties for DUIs because your profits will go up.
Yep. Absolutely. And I'm fairly certain that fairly certain that one of the charges that Ray Cousins' bill to reduce mandatory minimums include DUI charges.
So we average 14,000 DUIs in the state of Virginia every year.
Wow.
That's our average.
How many?
14,000.
Wow. Wow.
It's 25% of all traffic deaths.
25%. That's huge.
But yeah, I'm glad she vetoed that. But
Yes.
We're not getting to the heart of anything.
Right.
Legalization is never the answer. But yeah, they just want the tax money. Same thing with the gambling thing.
Oh yeah.
They just want the tax money. I forgot. I looked it up. It's billions in tax money for gambling.
Well, that was another one that surprisingly that it appears that she struck down was SB 661, which was the no, I'm sorry, not 661. What was it?
So here's an interesting number. Between the casinos that Virginia has, the lottery, and sports betting, which is like the apps like DraftKings and whatever the other ones are. I don't know. I just see commercials for DraftKings. $1.2 billion in tax revenue. Where did that money go?
I didn't get it.
I didn't see any of the 1.2 billion. So when people wonder why these bills keep coming up, or casinos in Fairfax that thankfully she vetoed.
Yeah.
This is why.
Yeah. Well, she vetoed. I remember it was funny. I was in the committee on trying to remember what that committee was, Will. It was the General Laws Committee. And Aaron Rouse's bill on skill games, SB 661, came up for consideration, and I testified against it. And Adam Ebbin, who is a senator, he's now in Abigail Spanberger's administration, but he was a former senator, and he's the patron of the same-sex marriage amendment on resolution on the Senate side. He was on the General Laws Committee, and I'm standing in the back of the room after I gave testimony. That's several of us in there that are anti-gambling people.
Yeah.
And we all approached it from different perspectives. But they came to Adam Ebbin. He turned his light on to make a statement, and he said, I'm about to do something that I thought I would never in my life do. I'm going to have to side with the Baptist on this one. And she vetoed that bill. She vetoed Aaron Rouse's skill games bill.
That's good.
And her reasoning is because it's expanding so much. I mean, that she says there's not enough oversight. And you know what? She's not wrong.
No, she's not wrong.
Now, there's a loophole in the bill. There's a loophole in the law. The law says that a skill game, right now the law says a skill game is legal as long as it cannot receive tender, meaning as long as you can't put money into the actual machine, that makes it a legal skill game. And that's just a silly loophole. Because what's the difference, Will, between putting $10 into a machine, walking 15 feet to your left, giving that $15 or that $10 or whatever to a clerk, they give you a voucher, you go back to the machine and install that voucher into the machine. The only difference is 15 feet.
Yeah.
And the outcome of you putting in that money or you putting in that voucher, it's the exact same outcome. And so that's a silly loophole in the bill that people are depending on. I mean, you go walk into any gas station. On my way here today, I was coming from, I don't know where I was coming from. Where was I? Charlottesville. And so I came up 20 through Orange, and I stopped at a convenience store. 6, walked in the door. 6 skill games lined up all against the wall.
Oh yeah.
You walk into any of the gas stations in my hometown, 4 or 5 skill games.
Yep.
Scattered throughout the gas station. I mean, not just a couple of them. Almost every one of them have at least 3 skill games, but
Yeah.
they're legal as far as the Commonwealth is concerned because you don't insert actual money. You have to go to the clerk, get a voucher, and install and insert the voucher. And her reasoning for vetoing this is because of the rapid expansion of gaming in Virginia and the lack of oversight that SB 661 would provide. And it was a horrible bill. And now they did pass a bill that didn't allow you to use your credit card on online gambling. Well, whoop-de-doo-dah. That was by Senator Delegate Lopez. Well, pat yourself on the back there, Delegate Lopez. I can go broke with cash instead of credit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just where, we're talking about affordability all the time now. If there's gambling in your face every 5 feet.
Yeah.
I personally don't gamble. It's, I don't have that much money to begin with, so I don't need to lose it, what little I have. But, not everybody is going to do that. There are people that are going to absolutely play. But then all these counties will cry that they're poor. Well, we just looked it up. It's $1 billion in gambling.
Yeah.
Tax revenue. Where did that go?
Yeah. And another gambling bill that I testified against was HB 161 by Delegate Marcus Simons. And that actually failed to they actually couldn't come up with a consensus in conference. Now, just for our listeners and viewers, what does it mean when it goes into conference? Okay, basically what happens is, and I'm going to kind of bore you guys with legals, we just want you to know what's going on. When you have a bill that's a House bill, it passes the House. If it passes through committee and then it passes the House floor vote, then on crossover day, that House bill goes to the Senate. And same with Senate bills that passed over the Senate, those bills come to the House. Each chamber considers the other chamber's bill and makes amendments or changes to the bill. Okay. A bill goes it's past the Senate, past the committee rather, passes the House, goes to the Senate. The Senate makes amendments, sends that bill back to the House. The House can either, say, we'll accept the amendments, we'll change it and pass it, or they can demand, and you saw this, they can demand their original enrolled cop version, and this will go into conference. And so basically what happens with conference is that the speaker designates people from the House, and the president of the Senate designates people from the Senate, and there's usually 3 from each chamber that will go in conference committee. Now, here's what's funny about conference committee. Conference committee is very, very laid back. Conference committee could be sipping a cup of coffee out underneath the juniper tree right there at the Capitol.
Yeah.
Out on the sidewalk. It's not a full committee that the public can come into or anything like that. Well, Marcus Simons' bill on internet gambling they couldn't come up with a consensus out of conference. And so what he wanted to do, he wanted to put on people's phones gambling right from the comfort of your living room. You spend money and gamble right there. And but again, it's all about money, because each of the gambling sites would have to pay a $500,000 initial licensing fee to the Commonwealth. $500,000 just to be able to put your game on a platform.
That's a lot of money.
That is insane. Yeah.
So out of that $1 billion that we get 97.5% goes to Virginia's general fund. 2.5% goes to gambling treatment and support. And just so for context,
They really worry about helping them, aren't they?
yeah, they are. In 2025, the gambling helpline intake saw an increase of over 200% in intakes. So I guess people calling for help. Just in 1 year alone, it was an increase of 200%.
Wow.
I think we did all this before. We talked about all the.
Yeah, we did.
20%
20% of the people who have a gambling addiction, here's a staggering number. 1 in 5, or 20% of the people that have a gambling addiction, attempt suicide.
Well, and like we talked about before, what's the primary function of government?
Right.
To protect its citizens.
Yeah.
These predatory gambling things come in, and they offer you like, deposit $5, get $200 in credit bets or whatever.
Yeah. That's almost like a title loan, Will. Bring us your car title, we'll give you cash
Oh yeah,
and
it
charge you
is.
600% interest.
It is because you go down that rabbit hole and
If I ever made it to if you and I ever made it to the General Assembly, Will and I want to announce our campaign right here on the Kingdom Politics now.
My wife will kill me.
If we ever got to the General Assembly, that would be one bill that I would patron. And I've got friends, and I guess I could do it now.
Yeah.
Making all of those things in Virginia, payday loans, title loans, illegal. Other states have done it.
Oh yeah, they have.
I don't know why Virginia hasn't, because we're too worried about making sure people are addicted to gambling and then giving 2% of the money that we make on, just to throw you a bone, just to make it look like we care about people not being addicted.
Yeah, it's to the heart of it, right? And you can't gamble in every state, by the way. Like
No.
DraftKings and all these other apps, it's not legal in every single state.
No.
But I don't know. I feel like we should help people. And if you're getting $1 billion and you're just giving 2% of that, I mean, granted, 2% of $1 billion is a lot of money, but
97.5% of it is going back to the industry.
yeah.
That's kind of flip flop. That's kind of not balanced very well.
All right, here's one she vetoed that I think is really interesting. That really, the HB 483 Prescription Drug Affordability Board.
Mm-hmm.
It would require. This bill requires panel to report annually on prescription drug prices, trends, and policy recommendations. Prescription drug pricing trends, pharmacy benefits managers provide to the panel upon request. Basically, we would have to negotiate drug prices.
Right.
Correct?
Yes.
This will probably surprise people because I'm not a big fan of panels and I'm not a big fan of studies. I actually wish they would have done this.
But she vetoed it.
She vetoed it
because similar states have done the same thing and it drove up prescription costs. That was her rationale, because the boards have not, she said in her explanation that the boards have not, these boards in similar states have not lowered drug costs. The operation of the boards are expensive, and they have either already been repealed or in consideration to be repealed.
Yeah, I could be wrong on this. As someone who goes and picks up medicine not for me, but so nobody should take medical advice from me. I don't go to the doctor. I don't take pills. I don't do any of that. But I have been to the pharmacy. I have gone to bat with insurance companies about the cost of medicine. For the life of me, I don't know why it's so expensive. It costs them dollars.
Right.
to make pills, and then we're turning around and charge 2, 3, 400% markup.
Yeah.
It's the only industry that does that.
Yep.
That has that markup that doesn't crater.
Right.
If a car manufacturer had a 400% markup, that car manufacturer would crater. I don't understand why we can't figure this one out. I don't know the answer. Anytime big pharma is involved, I get a little weary because they spend a ton of money in political gain. They tend to spend a ton of money on advertising. I don't know why it's so expensive.
My guess, supply and demand.
Yeah.
Perhaps. It's just like gas prices. I came from, when I went into Charlottesville this morning, I was on the phone with my wife, and I could not believe it, Will. $4.50 a gallon of gas in the city of Charlottesville. A little bit cheaper on Pantops Mountain, it was $4.49. But on 29 North, it was $4.50. Now I don't know what they're paying around here. I haven't paid any attention.
It's like I got it the other day, like 4.30 or something.
Okay, yeah, that's about what we're paying down in my area as well. But it has to do. I was speaking with Bob McEwen, a former representative, the other day from, I think, Ohio, and he said it's basically like this: the market. It's like anything. The market will charge what the people will pay. They can. He said quite honestly, what you buy per barrel for oil has very little to do with the price of gas. It has to do with what the market determines people will pay. If they know people will pay $4.39 a gallon for it, they're not going to lower it to $4.20. They're going to keep it at $4.39 and keep bumping it up until people. How? Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How high could people go? When would people stop buying gas?
Well, I think the pills are a little bit different, because if a doctor says, like, oh, you need blood pressure medicine, then what are you supposed to do? Go to the pharmacy and be like, I'm not going to pay, like,
well, that's exactly
you
my.
know what I mean?
Well,
Like, I don't know.
Well, that's exactly my point. They're not going to do that. They're going to take the medicine. Therefore, pharma knows, well, we can charge what we want because people are going to take the medicine because they don't want to die from a heart attack. So they're going to take medicine to get their blood pressure down. So we can charge what we want.
Yeah.
That's my point, which is just like it is with gas. They're going to charge what people will pay. And so big pharma is going to charge what people will pay because they know that most people are not going to buy it.
Right. No, hardly anyone's going to say no.
So they can charge, to your point, whatever they want to charge. These absorbent prices because people will pay it because they feel like they have to.
Yeah.
Just like I've got to have gas to go to work, to pay for the car that I'm putting gas in it, to pay for more gas.
Yeah, I know. You just go in a circle. I just feel like this could be an easy bipartisan one that people could come together and be like, this has got to get fixed.
What do you think is a good response, or what do you think is a good answer? Just capping?
I don't know what the answer is.
I mean, I'm not saying that's wrong. That's a legitimate question. Should the people in Washington get together and say, hey, we're going to put a cap on big pharma. You can't charge more than this.
Okay, so this is the idea I've had about the pills for a while, or medication. I should say medication, not pills. So if it's things like blood pressure or like, you need heart medicine or something, that should be capped. Where I would allow big pharma to make their money is on things like Ozempic. You don't need that.
You're right.
Yeah, I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to offend anyone or anything like that. A couple of years ago, I lost like 70 pounds. These other drugs that you don't necessarily need, like if you don't take Ozempic or any of the other ones that are like that, you're not going to die.
Right.
There's other alternatives that you can do to mitigate whatever the situation is. So I would let them make their money on those non-essential medicine. But if you have diabetes, for example, and you have to take insulin, then you have to take insulin.
Right.
There's nothing you can't say no. So I think it's a little bit. I would again cap what they could have a panel of doctors or whatever.
Mhm.
An independent panel of doctors per state and say this is what we believe to be medically necessary medicine, and here's the things that are not. You can charge what you want, and it's up to you and the insurance companies to figure out who's paying for. Ozempic's just the only example I have off the top of my
Right.
head, but uh, if you're anything in that vein, you don't need it.
Yeah.
But then they turn around and again, the doctors will say, well, you have to take this. No, you don't. You can.
Right.
There's things you can do, and you don't have to go to the gym every day or anything like that. You just walk.
Right.
Like
Right.
honestly, like 15 minutes a day of just walking will completely change the way your body reacts to things. That's what I would do. I don't know if that's a feasible plan or not. I really have no idea.
I mean, I understand the fact that the pharmaceutical guys have got to make. I mean, you and I are capitalists. I mean,
Yeah, I get it.
I
You
mean,
gotta make your
we
money.
get the fact they've got to make money, or they wouldn't be in business. We know that they've got employees they need to take care of because those employees have got families they need to take care of. But you don't need to take care of them on one patient or with one pill.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can dole it out.
It costs $150. Give me an illustration of the most expensive medicine you had to pay for, if you can think of one.
I don't know. We don't really take that much medicine. I remember one time I had to fight the insurance company about my wife's blood pressure medicine. She'd been taking the same medicine, and then they sent us a notice and told us it was going up. The medicine didn't change, and then
Do you know what it was going up to?
it went from $30 to like 75.
Okay, so it
And
doubled.
they had no reason why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can find you an example though. Like, what's it cost? I'll just keep going down my Ozempic rabbit hole. So it costs them about $1. It depends on the manufacturer, but approximately we'll say $3. It it varies, but we'll say it's an average of $3. Depending on your program that you're on for that medicine, they're charging you between $200 and $500.
Wow.
But what's insulin?
How often prescription?
Yeah.
You know what it costs
Well,
you?
no, you have to get that one prescription.
Well, I
don't
know.
you? I think.
Is that per prescription?
Oh, yeah.
That
Per month.
$500.
Yeah.
$500.
Yeah.
For what? Blood pressure medicine?
No. For the Ozempic.
Ozempic. Okay.
But if you look up insulin, so that's what I'm saying. You can look at the markup they have on that one, and this is including This is including like the research and development. The cost of this is including everything, by the way, because people are going to be like, well, So insulin is an average. Excuse me, my voice got weird. Between $2 and $4. Oh, sorry, that's the old one. So there's a new type. There's a new type of insulin. So the new type is between $4 and $6 per vial to manufacture. Their markup depends on your insurance, anywhere from $300 to $1,000.
Wow.
It depends what you do, or like what you have. So it's a little different. So I mean, that's a huge gap, but it's the best I can do.
Well, okay. The purpose of my question was to make a comparison. Is there's a medicine out there on the market that is it's called Linmeldy, and it's for the treatment of,
I don't know that one.
it's for the treatment of it's a life-threatening it's a treatment for a life-threatening brain disorder, most of the time in children.
Oh,
You know what one treatment costs?
no idea.
$4.25 million. You know what it costs to get mifepristone to kill that unborn child?
Well, we looked this up the other week.
$150.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody needs to be. I'm not going to say somebody needs to be capped, but I'm going to say somebody needs to cap the medicine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's ways to do this if they, again, it goes back to our point of like kind of the whole thing of what we're talking about today is getting to the bottom of an issue and actually fixing it.
Yeah,
No one's saying that big pharma can't make money.
right. No,
Well, there are people saying that. You and I are not saying that.
no, we're not saying that at all.
What
We're-
I'm saying is that the medicine that people need, your markup shouldn't be that high.
right.
I get you got to make a little bit on it,
Sure.
but for insulin to be $4 to $6 manufacturing costs, but then let's just say 300. Let's go the low end of the prices here. You're charging $300 to insurance companies.
Yeah.
That's a little crazy.
Yeah.
Now you want to go to the Ozempic route. Hey, let her rip.
Mm-hmm.
You want a shortcut to lose weight? It definitely works. I've never taken it, but you can see all the pictures of the celebrities.
Yeah, they market it really well, if nothing else.
Yeah, and they market it really well.
But that's not. I mean,
Why is that not $1,000?
Well, I guess obesity. Well, obesity is life threatening, but it's like you said, and I'm not trying to offend, but do you need Ozempic or do you need other avenues?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, there's other avenues to lose weight other than putting a chemical in your body,
Yeah.
which basically speeds up your metabolism, which I would have guessed speeds up your heart because that speeds up your metabolism, makes the blood flow faster, and that didn't seem to be very healthy to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
But my doctorate is not in medicine.
Yeah, I wouldn't take it. But I have the same, like, if you look at hospitals. So again, I get that hospitals need to I understand there's nonprofit hospitals, but I understand that we have to turn a profit. There has to be operating costs. There has to be all these different things. I get it. I used to run profit and losses every single month.
Mm-hmm.
Why do hospitals not have a separate plastic surgery wing where they can do these extra surgeries that are medically unnecessary?
Right.
I understand that, like burn victims, I'm talking about medically unnecessary
Mm-hmm.
plastic surgery. And why don't you just charge them, and then you could lower your cost on the opposite end? Again, this could be very idealistic, and I could be wrong. I will fully admit that.
No, I agree that the medical industry needs to put the Kardashians out of business.
But it
That
seems
was a joke, Will.
it seems like we could make this another way.
Well, like the veto said, she has not been able to find in other states, and I haven't done the research behind her. I'm taking her word at it on this. She hasn't been able to find that the other boards in other states have helped.
Yeah.
They've actually driven up medical cost so much to the fact that she says that these other states are either have already repealed the board or heavily considering repealing the board. So she says, therefore, I veto.
My conspiracy theory is she has higher plans than Governor of Virginia, and you can't mess with big pharma.
You got it. I don't think that's
why she vetoed it.
I don't think that's a conspiracy theory at all. I think you're dead on.
It's too much money.
Yep.
Too much. Any other veto ones you want to look at? By the way, in case people don't know, we're doing a whole episode on this, so it seems like she vetoed a lot. There was like 900 some odd bills that passed.
Yeah, and some of them bad. I think I'm looking down here on the list. I thought that I saw somewhere where she had she vetoed. I'm right. I've actually got an article coming out on this. Will be on the Capitol Alerts on Friday, I think. So I'm not going to give too much information because I want people to read it. But she actually vetoed Senator Saddam Salim's bill on it was SB 23, I think. Yeah, SB 23, and basically what SB 23 is that it would make it it would make it illegal for a prosecutor to make a deal with a perpetrator, a charged individual, would make it illegal for the prosecutor to make a deal with that guy who had been charged to give up his Fourth Amendment rights as part of the bargain, as part of the plea deal.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right here.
Because right now, a prosecutor can say, "Look, we will. If you're okay, a guy is charged with drug possession. Let's say, for example, he was charged with possession with the intent to distribute. Of course, if Ray Cousins has her way about it, he won't have a mandatory minimum anyway. But
Right.
that was continued till next year. So you've got a guy that was charged with drug possession with the intent to distribute. Okay, he's charged. He's going to be found guilty. So they're in plea deal agreements. The prosecutor says, "Okay, here's what we'll do. We will dismiss, for example, we'll knock it down to simple misdemeanor possession. We'll kick out the distribute, the intent to distribute, and we'll knock it down to a misdemeanor possession.
Yeah.
If you will agree to that for time frame set up by the courts of having your person, your home, and your car searched by law enforcement, and if they find drugs, then you're coming right back here and the plea deal is over." So basically what that says is this: you are agreeing to give up your Fourth Amendment rights to enter this plea deal, which of course the Fourth Amendment is unlawful search and seizure.
Right.
And the Commonwealth attorney is saying, okay, if you will give up your Fourth Amendment right, we will knock this down to misdemeanor possession. Going around the barn to get to the front door. That's what this bill was trying to get rid of. It would make those plea deals null and void because it violated their Fourth Amendment rights, unless it was three exceptions. Unless it was a veteran case, if it was sexual assault against a minor, anyone under 18, or it was, I'm trying to think, Will, what the other one was.
Yeah, I just have a summary of it up.
It was specialty dockets. If you are certain crimes against children, specialty dockets would be drug court. If for those people who are in criminal behavioral is connected with a drug addiction, they're in a mental health facility. Then those cases would be exempt from the Fourth Amendment obligation. You could still require that those people that are in those type of cases, DUI court, those people that are in those type of cases, they have to subject themselves to random drug testing, random searches. So they could still offer them a Fourth Amendment handover for a reduced sentence on that, and or any sex offense that was involving a victim under the 18 years of age, or any offenses on child exploitation or obscene material involving a child. Any of those cases, you would still be able to make a plea deal with them giving over their Fourth Amendment rights. And Spanberger vetoed that, basically because she says that it would limit plea agreements for defendants and Commonwealth attorneys. Basically, she's going back on precedent that this is allowed And so I'm not going to sign a bill that would take it away.
What is, well, real quick, in case people don't know what specialty dockets are, just some quick examples, like Dr. Huffman said. Drug courts. So if you have a substance abuse disorder and you get arrested, DUI is usually a specialty docket. Mental health courts. So if there's a diagnosed mental health situation and you're arrested, veterans usually qualify if it's service related issues that are affecting behavior, and then family treatment, which is like child welfare. If there's substance abuse in the home, those are all specialty dockets. If people don't know, that's okay, because I had to look it up. But anyway, what I don't understand the left's obsession with making things easier on criminals.
I don't know.
The restorative justice thing. First off, have we not already just done this enough
Right.
to realize that without even looking through history that it doesn't work?
Right.
We're living through it and it doesn't work. We just had Fairfax County taken to the House Judiciary. And if people want to see that, they can go to YouTube. I'll be honest, I thought more was going to come out of it than did. So that's why we're not really playing anything of it.
Yeah.
They didn't really let him answer any questions, which is fine. I don't know. I would have liked to hear him.
I would like to have I would have liked to watch him hang himself.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I would have liked to hear him try to explain it, and they never really gave him a chance to do that.
They almost made it easy on him because all they did was argue.
I thought they did make it easy on him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to argue.
That's exactly. I watched the whole thing, and I thought they did make it easy on him by not letting him speak.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
To me, I just would have asked the question, and I get it. They only got 5 minutes per person. Me, I would ask one question and then just sat there silently as he tried to answer it.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's why I didn't really have any clips for it, because it was kind of nice to see him squirm for all the things that he's done. But other than that, I didn't think they really accomplished anything.
No, I mean, I did appreciate what General Maori's had to say at the beginning.
He was awesome.
He was on fire.
This is where I wish we had more of a middle ground in our politics these days, because he was amazing. And good gracious, did we make a big mistake by not reelecting him? I'm serious. That was my first thought when it was his turn just to do the introduction.
Yeah. If he had been the Attorney General, the taxpayers probably wouldn't have to have wasted a whole lot of money going to the Virginia State Supreme Court on this redistricting thing.
No.
Because he never would have filed the case.
Yeah.
Because he had already written an opinion to
the
governor's mansion, said, listen, this is violation of Article 12, violation of Section 30. Don't do it.
Yeah, I appreciated everything he said during that testimony that he had. Plus, they kept asking him questions. They didn't ask DeSano hardly any questions.
Right.
They were asking Jason Miyares questions, though, about law and prosecuting, and I thought he was awesome.
Oh yeah,
I thought he
spot
was
on.
I thought he had great answers for everything, and I thought he came out. I thought he and Stephanie Minter's mom came out looking. I called my wife when that was over, and I was like, I don't think I could have done that. That was very strong of her. It was very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Courageous.
Admirable. Courageous.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't think Steve Descano ever did answer Nick Minoc's question, because he asked him a question on the way out. Why did you wait till here to apologize to Stephanie Minter's mama? I don't think he ever did answer that question. I mean, what is he going to say?
Yeah, well, I don't.
It was an apology, and I'm not judging Steve's heart. I'm not in that business, but it seems like it was an apology out of convenience.
Yeah. Oh, because he was there for
because
Congress.
He was there in front of people, and I better apologize to this woman. I better, because they accused him. Was it Jim Jordan, or I can't remember? It wasn't Jim. It wasn't Representative Jordan, but they had accused him of not caring about the people of Fairfax, which I don't believe he does. Of course, you live there. You see it in real life, at least for right now. You do. But
I don't think he. I think you could there's like been other rumblings in Fairfax County about all that stuff, like especially from the police. And again, I can't verify any of this stuff. I'm not a law enforcement officer, but I've heard, he treats the law enforcement with um what I had read was that basically it's his way or the highway. You don't get a say
Yeah.
in it, even for the law enforcement officers. Um, an arrogant kind of, this is what we're doing, you're doing it, or it is what it is.
Mhm.
Arrogance kind of thing. Obviously, they're not going to probably talk about that in Congress, but
No.
well, they didn't, but they probably wouldn't bring it up anyway. Um, but yeah, it all goes back to this, what you were just talking about with, she vetoed it. But I don't understand the left's obsession
They're for the criminal.
with the criminals.
Yeah. I mean, you look at bills like Senator Salim's. You look at bills like Delegate Cousins. You look at the assault rifle bills. And by the way,
No, we didn't even talk about those. I
Well-
guess maybe we'll do that next week or something.
well, let me just say this, and we can go on. But Monday, yeah, these ones are Monday. The Virginia Citizens Defense League and Gun Owners of America filed lawsuit of an injunction
Yeah.
on those assault rifle bills. And what an injunction is, just for everybody, if a court awards an injunction, the law cannot become a law July 1st until the courts decide the veracity or the constitutionality of the law. And so what the lawsuit actually says is that, listen, courts, we want you to stay the implementation of this law on July 1st until the courts at a later time decide whether this can actually become law in Virginia. We don't want this to become law, and then you determine in the courts at the final decision that it's not law, and then we have to retract it. We would rather you just stay it so that it can't become law until what time the courts either say it is constitutional or it is not constitutional. And if it is not constitutional, then you basically just go as status quo.
Right.
But that's kind of what we're at right now with that.
Yeah, maybe we'll do the Second Amendment stuff when there's an update.
Yeah.
I mean, because federal lawsuits have already been filed.
Yeah.
So just a heads up for everybody as well. This is going to cost more money from the Commonwealth of Virginia for passing unconstitutional laws that have been held up time and time and time again. So maybe we'll do those when there's more of an update other than lawsuits were filed.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why she vetoed some of this stuff, because they keep getting sued.
Yeah, maybe so.
maybe they realized that Jay Jones can't argue these things.
Yeah,
and they need to take a quick break.
Man, if Jay Jones takes this to court, man, we're going to lose. Man, I wouldn't let him litigate a jaywalking charge for me.
I don't know him personally, but he seems to me to be like the one who's on the team, but you picked them because you had to.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a sports team, like you're the guy who, like, because you showed up, you have to play.
Mhm.
So you have to, like, if you're picking teams at the playground or
Or like,
whatever.
or like Parks and Rec ball, where mom and dad pay $25-$30 to let their kid play basketball. Their kid can't spell basketball, much less shoot one.
Yeah.
But you have to let them play because mom and dad paid their fee.
That's what it is.
Jay Jones can't litigate himself out of a wet paper bag, but he was available, so we're gonna let him run for attorney general.
Yeah, and I think for people that want to start getting more involved, your state attorney general is an incredibly important position, and we should be careful who we elect to that position.
Yeah.
It's not some random.
It makes
There
a
are things in
difference.
the government, you know what I'm saying? Like you could be like, well, whatever, they don't do anything. But the state attorney general
Yeah.
is a very important position.
Right. Yeah, he is the one that would argue the Virginia Constitution at the Supreme Court level.
Yeah.
And, the reason why, just to give you guys an example, the reason why same-sex marriage is legal in Virginia is because our attorney general at the time would not argue it before the Supreme Court because he believed that couples of same sex had the constitutional right to be married. And so he would not argue it before the court. So if we would have had I'm not talking about an evangelical Christian as the attorney general, but if we would have had a constitutional attorney general attorney general, then he would have argued it based on, and a conservative one, he would have argued it based on conservative principles. And who knows where we would be now as far as that's concerned. So yeah, it is very vital that we have a good attorney general.
And I tried to look it up. I thought there'd be a big difference in spending. They both spent about the same amount on that campaign. But our friends at Clean Virginia gave Jay Jones $578,650.
Wow.
And a California donor gave $300,000.
Wow.
That's crazy. Yeah. Attorney General, governor, and then your local delegate, all very important positions.
Yep.
That people should be really paying attention to, because if you're not careful, and if you listen to us when you're not from Virginia, you should pay attention to Virginia and see what happens when you don't pay attention to who you're voting for. Because it could quickly become your state. We had Youngkin, we had Mieres, we had Winsome Sears, we had leadership.
Yeah.
And now we don't.
That's right.
Now they're fighting with each other. Oh, we should also remind everyone real quick. I know we're going to wrap up here in a minute. We also have no budget.
Still.
So this means that public schools can't set a budget. Teachers, school people who work at the schools, people who work in the state, all kinds of things. They have a majority in the House, the Senate, and they have the governor's mansion, and we have no budget. And it is, as of this recording, May 20th.
Yeah.
It's kind of important that they get a budget done.
Yes, it is. You know, one of the reasons why I'm wondering, Will, if she's vetoing all these bills like this, that you and I would have thought, yeah, she's going to pass that. I think you mentioned it a moment ago, was because of the atrocity, the legal atrocity of the redistricting issue.
That was bad.
And the way that the trifecta and all the Democrats in Richmond got egg on their face. And she's trying to get on the good side of the people of Virginia a little bit better. So she's vetoing unpopular bills.
Yeah. I again, I've never met her. I would imagine she has aspirations beyond the governor's house.
Of course. Yeah.
So that would mean a national level, whether it's a run at the presidency, which I think she would have I think she'd have a hard time in that arena.
Oh yeah.
But at some point you have to, if you're going to run on a national level, if it is president that she wants, you can't just you have to bridge the gap a little bit. You can't be all the way to the left, even though the left will then turn on you, which is what is happening right this second for her.
In a heartbeat.
Because the extremists are the ones that run that party. And so, but to get elected at a higher level, maybe that's why she did the, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe that's why she did that election thing, the Electoral College.
Oh, yeah.
Goes to the popular vote.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She signed that one.
She signed that real quick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe she's trying to help herself.
Of course, again, it's
I don't know how that's constitutional.
It's Constitution. I mean, the Electoral College is in the Constitution. So I mean, it's not a trying to find where it is. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's too much to remember.
Yeah, it is. Well, and we'll kind of close on this. We had some other stuff planned, but this ended up being a good conversation. When people tell you what they're going to do, listen.
Yeah.
They told us they were going to, even though she didn't say it, the Democrats said, this is what we're going to do. And they attempted to do it. They obviously are trying to take the Second Amendment away. That's not step one.
Right.
Or sorry, that's step one. That's not the end of the steps, though.
No.
When people are telling you what they're going to do, you have to listen to them.
Well, I think on that, it's Article 2, Section 1, by the way, it doesn't use the phrase electoral college, uses the term electors, which is what they meant, which is what they intended. Article 12, Section 1 of the Constitution. Well, when she vetoed HB 217, and it's cognitive from Saddam Salim, I made a video and basically said that she's going to be the lead witness for the people and not for the Commonwealth, but for the people suing her. She's going to be the lead witness for the Virginia Citizens Defense League, because she stated in a statement that I'm vetoing this because weapons that are intended to cause multiple casualties need to be taken off the street. And even though I offered many amendments and they were rejected by the General Assembly, I am vetoing. Let's see, when she signed that, she says, I'm signing this because even though it will take away weapons of common use, such as those weapons that are used for hunting. Well, she just handed the Citizens Defense League all the ammunition that they needed, because Bruen and Heller from the Supreme Court, Washington, D.C. v. Heller and New York Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruen, the Supreme Court has already ruled that you cannot ban weapons in common use.
No.
And she just said in that statement, even though this bill bans weapons of common use, I'm signing it anyway.
Yeah.
So she just gave the guys that are following these lawsuits all the ammunition they've got. And by the way, Will, there are 32 million AR-15s in circulation. So that's quickly becoming, if not already, a weapon that is in common use.
Pretty sure it's the most popular rifle. Somebody can double check me on that. I'm not a big AR. I don't dislike them. I'm just not a big AR-15 guy. I'm fairly confident it's the most popular model currently on the market. As far as I know, it's the most popular.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're doing.
No.
And then because their ideology has so twisted what is going on versus reality of a constitution and reality of Virginia's constitution, but the United States Constitution in this case with the Second Amendment stuff, because their ideology has twisted them around so much, they'll just simply acknowledge that this is unconstitutional, but we're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, they don't care.
They don't care. They will just continue. Yep. It's the same thing with all of the other weird stuff. They don't care.
And then when they don't win, what do they try to do?
Oh, it's somebody else's fault.
Yeah. And they're going to try to sweep out every justice of the Supreme Court by changing the minimum retirement age to 54. And oh, by the way, the youngest justice on the Virginia State Supreme Court right now was 54. So that would have wiped out your entire justices, including the 3 that voted for you.
Yeah.
Because you broke the law and didn't get your way.
Yeah. And it's always someone else's fault. Well, if the will of the people said this, well, no.
The people's will was lied to.
Yeah, the people's will, but the people's will weren't even taken into account because 1 million people already voted way back in the fall.
Yeah.
So where's those people's will?
Exactly.
You can't have it. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You know what I'm saying? They will always push not even the boundaries anymore. Oh. We're past pushing boundaries. Yeah. We're into just straight up. We're gonna do what we want, and hopefully no one's paying attention. You know, I love sports, because of all the redistricting thing in the South, people were calling for African American athletes to boycott going to Southern schools, which are the ones who pay the most, by the way, in NIL money.
Wow.
It's like, so the
Wow.
answer is to not go play football and change your entire family's life because now college athletes are paid. It's the weirdest.
Because the Supreme Court said you can't draw district lines based on race.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. And, but then they'll, even in Virginia, they get upset because the Supreme Court said, no, we're not going to hear this. And it was 9-0.
Mm-hmm. In one word, denied.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a long explanation. Denied.
And it's never good enough. But again, it's never for the will of the people. It's always for cementing power, money, all of these different things.
Yeah.
Because if it was for the people, she could rack up some easy wins. Honestly, she could rack up some easy W's. This whole power line thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The 115-mile data center power line, easy W.
Yeah.
Just say no.
Yeah.
Or maybe she doesn't have the power to stop it, but she could come out and say, "This is a bad idea. We need to like reevaluate what we're doing." That's an easy W.
Yeah.
That's a layup.
Yep. I mean, even if she, like you said, even if she could not herself stop it, she could at least make a statement of opposition and give herself some credibility.
Yeah. That's an easy one. No one wants it.
Right. No. No.
But she won't do it because they probably gave her money. I don't know. We'd have to look at the donations, the finances into that, and we're already ran an hour and 12 minutes. But that's an easy win.
Mm-hmm.
No one wants a 115-mile super power line thing, high velocity or whatever they call it.
It's always humming in your backyard.
Oh my gosh, it's a nightmare. I feel so bad for people that are going to be affected by that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not affected, but I feel really bad for. Can you imagine you buy like your retirement home out in the country?
Oh yeah.
In that beautiful area between Lynchburg and Spotsylvania, that's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's mountains. It's gorgeous. And now they're going to drop a gigantic high-powered power line that's going to be humming and buzzing and all of this other things.
Yeah.
Into your backyard, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
And the government's not going to come help you. Again, what's the primary function of government? To protect you.
Right.
I'd want my land protected.
Yep. It's interesting to know that Dominion Energy gave $20 million to the Virginia campaign, and Valley Link is in a joint venture with Dominion.
Yeah, it's a joint venture.
So while Valley Link did not directly give Spanberger money, according to what we can find, Dominion did.
It's not. This is what happens when the citizens, Christians, the church is not paying attention.
Yeah.
We're all just going about our lives. Meanwhile, Dominion Power probably bought that 115-mile, and they're going to charge you for it.
Oh yeah, they're going to make their money back in no time.
Yeah. Well, and there's a merger going on too with Dominion Power.
Yeah.
I got an email about that because I have Dominion Power.
Who are they merging with? Valley Link?
No, it's some other company, Next Era or something, or maybe that's what the new company's called. I didn't really do a lot of research yet. Oh yeah, here's the email. Exciting plans is what they told me. This morning, this is the other day. Next Era Energy and Dominion Energy announced plans to combine. Next Era is the largest electric and energy infrastructure company in North America. They're from Florida.
Wow.
So I don't know. I'll have to keep an eye on that one and see what.
Those two companies together are worth $66.8 to $67 billion.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't look anything up about it. I
Billion
just
with
read
a
the email.
B. But they're going to maintain the name Dominion Energy. It says.
Yeah, but that's like a thing they do now when companies
Oh,
buy
yeah.
other companies.
Yeah.
They keep the name and
Yeah, keep it familiar.
yeah. Yeah, it used to be in a company would buy another company and it was a whole new thing. But some time ago they got kind of rid of that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll have to see what happens with that.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
No, I wanted to do something, but we're gone over. We can do it next week.
Yeah.
We'll be in our new place, Lord willing, next week.
Yeah. I have a meeting next week, so we'll be in a new spot. And just remember, check the website. We moved everything, so the Kingdom Politics .org is the website. Facebook Kingdom Politics, Instagram Kingdom Politics Podcast, and of course we're still on YouTube. Same thing as before. And if people can like and subscribe in those places and share it and all that good stuff, that would be awesome. And until next week, we'll see you then. Thank you guys all for the support.
And I heard the voice of the Lord